Hello everybody and welcome to the final round of the OGRL Coffee Cup here in Season 4. After starting out at Mid-Ohio in mid-July, we're at the start of October now, middle of October now, and we are ending the season here from Sebring. The journey from Mid-Ohio to Sebring has been a little bit longer though than the conventional one. We've been all across the world in the meantime, over to Australia, back to Europe, here to America and back to Europe again a few more times. It's been a very, very exciting season with lots of variety in terms of the circuits used and in terms of the racing action that we've seen as well. It's been a lot of fun. Hope you're going to enjoy this final broadcast of the season with myself, Ewan, and Jim Cunningham in commentary for you today. Good to be alongside you for this one, Jim. You were telling me about your love-hate relationship with this circuit that ends our season in Season 4.
Yeah, I do. I love this place because it was my very first sports car race a long time ago, back when Martin Brundle was a pretty new driver to the GTP cars back in the day, just after his Formula One years. But yeah, it's I just, we call a lot of, as a broadcaster, you do a lot of races like I do. We everybody races here every single season, and so it just gets a little, I guess, I don't know, routine or mundane because there's so many races here. It does produce good racing, and I love this facility, and it's it's just we do a lot of races from here. So, but it's a great American circuit. It's one of the classic road racing circuits of America for sure.
Yep, it is, and that's where we're having our finale here today. A finale which is going to be very much contested, by the way, in certainly two of our categories this evening. We'll wait and see which of them changes, if they do at all. So first we'll start with the pro standings, shall we? Ryan Merriam, who's currently leading the way by 7 points over Brian Faluna. 14 points back for Tim Probert before you start to get a little bit further down. David Van Roy, Bradley Lovings rounding out the top 5. Hayden Young wasn't in the top 5, or isn't on the top 5 rather, going into this race. Jeremy Cheney has been at most of the rounds this season. And then you get to those who've missed a few races. Sierra, Riley, Dion, for example, who are rounding out the top 10. Marco Dion, the winner a couple of weeks ago at Bathurst. 3 weeks ago, I think it was now. In the Pro-Am standings, Justin Dosface is leading the way by 9 points. Again, another close one here with Bradley Tidwell just in second. It is Adam Hansen then who's in third place ahead of Claudio and Price rounding out the top 5. Tom Bryce, Penohano, William Bailey, Cuddy Bond and Brian Dukowski round out the top 10. And then you get some bigger gaps further behind. Indeed, James Hillerick, who hasn't been here for quite a while. Unfortunately for him, always comes to have a chat with us, but is not here at the moment. Anyway, it is Heath Ronger who's leading in the AM standings as well. 23 points his gap, and that is enough. That's the only one that's not contested here, actually, in the in the different rounds. The only one that can't be yet beaten now, even if Heath Ronger takes that drop score of 41, he will still not be able to get. Jim Sawyer will not be able to gain enough points. He'll only gain 21. He's 23 behind. So Heath Ronger has got a lap of honour tonight. Sawyer and Gardner will be battling for second. They're only 6 points apart, with Michael Vester and Nicholas Marshall rounding up the top 5. Scott Carlson missed last. Didn't miss last week. Sorry, but just dropped to 6th now. Bit of a gap jump back in points into Brian Hoskins as well. Brett Basil, Justin Race, and then Abbott rounds out the positions up there. So that's where we stand in the AMs. As I say, that's the only one though that cannot be not be changed in the standings. The 9-point gap that Justin Dosface has got is not enough to guarantee him the title tonight, and I believe the same is the case for Ryan Merriam as well, with Brian Faluna battling with him coming into this final round of the season. I believe, anyway, that they are able to move those around, and I think they are going to battle for the championship the old-fashioned way on the circuit here tonight. Although Merriam, with that advantage, should have enough, to be honest, with 7 points. That means he only needs a top 7 tonight, and he will get that victory. And I just wonder, yeah, he probably will be able to do that. I just wonder how easy that will be for him as we go on through this race. Beautiful sunset in the background, I've got to say. Sunset Bend very much living up to its name right now. At the bottom of this circuit, turn 17 as it is, right to the very west of this facility. And I wonder whether we are going to have the sun coming down indeed on this race, as it is indeed on this season, because it looks spectacular at the moment, and it's gone past that point as well of actually being in their eyes. It's just past 7 o'clock in the evening. If we start any later after this, then I guess it's going to be a night race maybe to end the season.
Yeah, I think based on the time, it probably will get pretty dark. I mean, we see the headlights are already on, so by the time we get qualifying knocked out and get on the grid and everything and work through an hour race, I would think that it'll be pretty dark when we're finishing. So this could be an interesting finish out to the season. We'll close out, closing out under the lights here. Well, lack of lights here. I guess there's a few at Sebring, but it's not exactly well lit track, but it is lit.
Yeah, it's somewhere in the middle in that scale. But yeah, just past 7 o'clock at this time of year. Should be sun coming down now, even in Florida. Got to say, in the UK at the moment, it would be definitely dark by this point, but we're not on the same altitude, of course, latitude. This is Tim Probert, currently in second place at the moment. And Brian Faluna, look at that, doing everything he can at the moment to try and take this title away from Brian Merriam. And at the moment, I don't see Merriam in the running order. Now, he might just be leaving his laps for a little bit later, but he's got to get on with it pretty soon. Well, otherwise, he's not going to have a chance to get them in at all. I don't know if you can see him in the session.
Yeah, no, he was in there. Yeah, there he is. He has run. This is his first lap, so he is just getting out there going. It shows that he hasn't even completed a lap yet. So
leaving it late is what they call this, I believe.
Well, that's kind of a thing here in the OGRL.
I really appreciate it, actually, because I can't tell you how many sessions I've done where everybody goes out immediately, right. Whether it's solo qualifying or not, and we just have nothing to talk about for the last 8 minutes. So
it's true.
I do appreciate it from these guys. It does keep it exciting. And actually, I think it helps to sort of see what you're aiming at if you're a driver. But anyway, 5th place for Merriam then. And looking at the Pro and Pro-Am drivers, the way they're split here tonight, if you're looking at a top 7, sort of what Merriam needs, and then there's nothing that Faluna can do to beat him from that point, you'd say that this is a good-looking field at the moment for him. There are 7 pros in this field, and there's some very quick Pro-Ams, as we've seen with Justin Dustface. And that 2-minute flat, very nearly below 2 minutes with that lap time there. But Merriam, I think, is glaring favourite here tonight. But the strange things happen when you get into the race. You put more than 20 cars out there together, and incidents can happen. And that's when things get a little bit more difficult. And perhaps there are some banana skins on the way for Merriam tonight.
Well, and yeah, especially here at Sebring, which is not the longest track in the world. And you got a, reasonably full grid out there. And then not to mention, we're going to... this race is going to shade towards the dark side as we get closer to the end. So I think, all of those factors could throw a curveball at him, I see Merriam's now on his second timed lap. He jumped it up to 5th overall on his first lap, which is not bad because, the tires aren't really even up to temperature yet. As Bradley Loving's also known for running late laps in qualifying here, has got a one time lap in, and he's only up to 15th. But again, he's also well known for picking up pace as the qualifying session goes on.
Yeah, he's very much tripped himself up actually a couple of times this season by doing this. I think I remember very much back to the first round of the season actually at Mid-Ohio, which feels like a lifetime ago now, nearly 3 months. But yeah, he qualified himself something like 23rd, 24th, something like that, really long way down. We did have a few more in the race that day. I think we had over 30 in the race, so sort of 2/3 the way down. He had very good speed. I think he still rescued a good finish. See if I can find it. Yeah, he finished 7th still, or 8th.
Yeah, that's not bad from that starting spot.
Yeah, he gained nearly 20 places. But it's one of those races where you wonder, well, what would he have achieved if he'd have qualified, something like 8th, which is where he finished in the end. It's one of those days. But I suppose his argument, and one that I agree with, would be that, well, I could mess up my qualifying by going at the end or the beginning, so it doesn't really matter when I'm going out. That's not the reason. It's just the qualifying hasn't gone particularly well on a couple of occasions this season because of the driving rather than the strategy, I think, of going out late.
Yeah, but by the same token, he's done it since I joined this league originally, which is how I found you guys to start with. And that was 4 seasons ago, I guess now. And, ever since I showed up, he's always been known for running the late. And usually back then he would pop up in the top 2 or 3 or on pole or something. But, I don't think that he races quite as much as he did back a few seasons ago. Sometimes life gets in the way of those things. And I don't think he gets to practice quite as much as he did. I mean, he used to be pretty hardcore when I originally joined. You could always find him on, and I think he, family things and just life in general. It's hard to keep that kind of pace up with these things, especially the level of practice that it requires to be that super fast level. Just like David Van Roy was like that for a while as well.
Yeah,
Ryan, but Ryan's young, I think, isn't he?
Right, Merriam.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, actually. Not sure.
I was thinking he's young.
I'm not sure. I don't know quite, if I'm honest. As he goes up to 3rd while we're speaking of him. Only a couple of attempts. Just less than a couple of attempts, actually. Slower than for Luna. So Loving's the last one left out there. And I think this is his last lap. And this is looking like a quick lap as well. Hopefully it's still valid and he's not gone off track anywhere, because he was slightly strangely positioned coming out of Tower Corner. Another personal best there in the 3rd last sector. There's far too many at this circuit, I've got to say.
There are, yeah.
That's 5 already.
I know, it seems like Le Mans or something, Yeah. But
I know that in real life, the Nordschleife is done over 9 sectors in real life. This has got 7 in iRacing.
Exactly. And the Nordschleife is what, like 14 miles or something?
That's 8 minutes or something, yeah, over 8 minutes. So
I love that track.
Idea. We're not gone there this time round. We ended one of the seasons quite recently. We went to the Nürburgring Grand Prix, but we ended one of the seasons quite recently at the Nordschleife with an hour and a half race. Not the same this time round as
I was there. That was another session where James talked bad about me. That's why I started broadcasting. James was criticizing me too much for my driving.
I was going to say, yeah.
That's true story, I have to admit. All right, that's everybody. So that looks like that's going to be our starting board, our leaderboard right there as we go in qualifying. Here we got another, right there. It should finish us up right here.
Yeah, so check if that comes out, and warm-up will begin in a couple of moments. So we'll show the grid to you. I think we'll have to do it just when the race sessions are. Oh my word! Look at that. The sun's come out. It's a new day. It looks like we've gone on to the next day. The sun has come out.
Okay,
the sun was out before, but it was dipping below the horizon. So I suspect it's sort of mid-afternoon now.
Well, let's
and
see.
If this is more like what the race start time is going to be like, then it's going to be a whole different ball game again. But it actually looks quite warm at this time of year. Actually, at the end of September.
Well,
it's Florida, but
it's always hot in Florida.
43. Wow.
That's okay. So that's going to create its own level of difficulty, because at this track, which already doesn't have much grip because this whole surface is worn out, considering most of this concrete has been down since the 1940s, which that's significantly older than me. So that's really old. So I mean, it's got a 68% chance of rain too. It doesn't really look like rain, but it's Florida. In about 15 minutes, it can pop up in Florida. And
yeah, that is true. I think the 68% is humidity, by the way, because if you see
the
one at the bottom.
Oh, there it is. Okay,
I think it's
You're
the
right.
chance of rain.
You're right.
Or normally, sometimes that's the percentage strength of the rain when it's falling. obviously 0% at the moment because there is none. But yeah, I think that's what
well, Lord knows you and I have been tricked by 99% rain before, as it turns out.
Yeah.
We sat there all race waiting for a 99% chance of rain to happen, and it never happened.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will complain about that in there. I don't actually remember the guys in that. It was another league it was in, but it wasn't a previous round of this series. I don't remember the guys particularly complaining about it, but
no.
I remember doing some league races on another simulator that had rain a lot earlier before. I don't know why I say other simulators if I can't say what it was. It's not really a simulator. It was the F1 games back in, it must have been at least 5 years ago now. And the forecast, they brought out a game one year when the forecasts were, not all the time, but sort of semi-regularly slightly wrong. Saying it was going to rain and it didn't, or rain more than it did, or rains less than the forecast said so, or as we experienced, the rain never arrived when it said it would. And people used to complain, this is a rubbish game. Why is it getting it all wrong? But weather forecasts are very difficult to do in real life.
That's right. Have you watched a meteorologist? That's right.
Yeah.
Have you watched a meteorologist on TV? It's the only job in the world that you can get wrong 50% of the time and keep your job.
And it's nobody can do any better really at the moment than 50%. It's quite hard to predict weather. It seems.
Yes. Well, growing up, I live in a hurricane area, so we get hurricanes pretty common down here. And back when I was kid, the forecasting was just horrible for hurricanes. It was pure speculation as to where they were going to go. There were a few factors that they could tell, but now they're pretty accurate with predicting those things, and it's gotten that science has gotten a lot better, but just predicting casual weather doesn't seem to have improved that much, really. It's kind of funny if you think about it. By the way, I want to mention while we have Damon Horvath on screen here, we've added a webcam feature for this race. We actually had it last race, but nobody signed up to do it. So we got a couple of drivers that were gracious enough to put their webcam up. There he is. Look, he's okay, that's going to be a bad sign. Now I know you're watching the broadcast. Oh, just wait. I'm gonna. Yeah, that's tempting me too much. Yeah, that's it. You're listening to the broadcast. That's tempting. I might have to get you there at some point in time. And then we also have Bradley Tidwell has got his camera on as well. And
there he is.
And then
by the way,
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, just while we're on Tidwell for a second, we'll get to the last one in a sec, but I just want to read out his message that he put in just between qualifying and the warm-up session as well into our YouTube chat. So thanks to all the drivers and broadcasters. Thanks for an amazing season. Additional thanks to the sponsors for making this possible. And we should say a thanks to the admins like Brad Tidwell and everybody else who is behind the scenes, running this league week to week over the course of the last 12, 13, 14 weeks, however long it's been for season 4. Big thanks to them for putting on another great show this season. It's been a lot of fun. Back to the old format that you would have raced in, Jim, and it's been a lot of fun to have it back once again. So look, and the rest of them.
The reality is this series has always been very well run. It's always been a treat. That's why I joined this. Originally joined this group and ended up, broadcasting with you guys and everything. It's been a fantastic run league for a good while now, and they do a great job with the series.
Yeah, so one last race this season coming up, and we'll look forward to it greatly with the final starting grid of this season. It's Porsche's all down one side. Brian Faluna takes pole, and directly behind him will be his championship rival Ryan Merriam, who just needs a top 7 today to seal the title. Hayden Young will round out the top 5. On the other side of the grid, it's Tim Probert, Damien Horvath and Storm Riley. Bradley Lewings and David Van Roy will share row 4 ahead of Dustin Dosface and Pau Kirley rounding out the top 10. They're the front row of the Pro-Ams, by the way. Bradley Tidwell and Alexander Claudio will then be on row 6 overall, the second row of the Pro-Ams. There's the inside of a Porsche.
I feel like that was very, very invasive on our part there.
Probert getting ready. We're just inside his car. we'll scroll down to the next row.
Sorry, sorry, I was caught up by that whole incident there. Go ahead. As they roll off
Will
their
Bailey,
face
Pernell
lap.
Hanno, and Adam Hansen, Tom Bryce will round out the Pro-Ams. Then Jim Sawyer's taking the pole in the AMs. As I mentioned, can't overhaul the disadvantage he has with Heath Ollinger, as far as I can see, in this season. I don't think so, anyway, pretty sure. And we'll start on pole here, nevertheless. John Gardner, Scott Carlson, Brian Hoskins on the first 2 rows of the AMs. Michael Champlin is next to Nicholas Marshall with Michael Vester. And then Abbott at the end of the grid in 24th is also an AM as well. 6.6 seconds back. I think that's it for drivers who set times in this race here today. So 24 in the final race of the season. And it's a decent grid to end it. I think, we're going to have certainly one good championship battle in the pros. You never know what can happen in the Pro-Ams as well. But Merriam is favourite, as we've discussed, with a top 7 only required. Here tonight, he will certainly be favourite.
Yeah, and I think it's very common that at the beginning of the season you see big grids, and as the season dwindles down, they start to, some of them start to lose interest as they fall out of contention and things like that. That's very common. By the way, I have to say, Faluna is running that Rexy skeleton livery that the Rexy team is running this weekend at Road Atlanta, and I have to say I absolutely love that livery. I think that is so cool. Just so awesome.
I had noticed actually it's a different livery, but yeah, they've done great things with that livery over the years, and great that he's replicated that in the sim here for the final race of the season. Into your corner, Jim.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
do you want to tell the story quickly before we start this race? If for people who haven't heard you before, or haven't told this story.
All right, so Cunningham corner. Obviously, my last name's Cunningham. So like I said, I went to Sebring back in the late '80s for my first race. Had no idea. Come to find out that corner is named after a second cousin of my father. Nobody that I ever knew, and he was apparently a big-time sailor as a young man. He won the America's Cup, which for those of you that know anything about sailing, that's kind of a big deal. It's a worldwide thing. And then he got into racing and developed a car called the Cunningham car, which was very similar to the roadster-like cars of that Carroll Shelby was famous for the Shelby Cobras. Kind of similar to that, and he had some decent amount of success racing, and so yeah, Briggs Cunningham was his name, and did not even know that when I went to Sebring that it was actually named after a distant cousin. So pretty cool.
There you go. Yeah, pretty cool. Cunningham corner. There it is, turn 10 on this racetrack these days. It's gone through many changes, obviously, but turn 10 in the modern layout. And it's Sebring, our venue for the final race of the season. 55 minutes of racing for the 12th time this season. Almost a 12 hours of Sebring distance covered over the course of the Sebring season. Quite fitting that we end here at this circuit. The green flag waves one final time in the OGRL Coffee Cup for Season 4. And it is a good start out front from Brian Faluna, who has to win here, realistically, you'd think, to take the title away from Merriam tonight. In towards turn number 1, and it's side by side as Merriam looks to get to second, ahead of Tim Probert. He's going to be on the inside, and he's going to have that line on the way towards turn 3 with Damien Hovden not sure where to go. Oh, he gets very close to side-to-side contact there with Probert. He needs to avoid trouble here, Merriam, above anything else. Above getting second position, he does just about avoid trouble there. He has to stay third. Hovden just in there. Hayden Young is not too far behind either, as he's coming off of 4. Or off for 5 very close. Here comes Hovden. Does he go down the inside of Merriam? Maybe playing on the fact that Merriam will be a bit more cautious than normal on this final race of the season. There he goes down the inside. Damien Hovden does move up into third place. Yeah, he is, but he's been knocked back for a moment, and it's Sean Riley and Bradley Lovings who are going to try and overtake him now into Tower Corner, side by side, and Riley's going to stay in front of Lovings. Then you've got David Van Roy. Then you've got Dustin Dusveis, who's still leading in the Pro-Am class, although Kirley and Claudio are very close behind, and they're side by side through Bishop Corner now, coming into the final chicane, and Kirley is overtaken by Claudio, so there's a change inside the top 10 on the opening lap of this race. Brian Faluna leads out front, but the battles behind have been pretty immense through the most of the first lap here. Oh, God, that was close. Probert into the wall. Just about avoided it, but de Hoverton's going to get a very good exit as a result of that. Probert was so slow off the exit because he was too busy avoiding the wall, and you can see why. Out of the corner, and Hoverton moves up, so he's made a great start, Darren Hoverton, up to second place, 2 places gained in 1 lap. And that's exactly what Brian Faluna has to do here today. 1.8 seconds it creeps up to. 1.9 it will continue to creep up, I would imagine, as we go through the race. Down towards the hairpin. And they're all absolutely pinned together, nose to tail, through turn 7. Bit of a break in the group from Young to Riley. There you can see the gap back from the yellow Porsche to the BMW. One of the only ones. One of the only BMWs in this entire field. And there's the whole way. There's a few more further down, but the whole way down it is very, very close. Abbott is off the back of the field, but other than that, everybody is still in one line. But is this going to settle in like this for a long time, I wonder? Is this going to be a pattern of the race, or are we going to see them get side by side again? We'll have a look. Yeah, it's so many different lines you can take as well, which just makes it so difficult. Which is the attraction, I guess, of the final corner at this circuit. So bumpy as well, as we all know. Hansen gets very close to Gardner on the way towards turn 1 here. He actually had the run out of Sunset just as we were talking about it, and he is using that to dive down the inside at turn 1. And Adam Hansen leads this race now on lap number 3 in the AM class. All the classes separated rather nicely today. Pros all followed by Pro-Ams, all followed by AMs. That doesn't happen too often. Yeah, it's very unusual that happens, got to say. Yeah, well, fair enough. I mean, it's not all too often that this happens, but when it does, it's pleasing on the eye, I must say. Hoskins is, yeah, much easier. Hoskins is going to try and get past Sawyer, although he wasn't quite close enough that time. Basically following Hansen and Gardner, who have been making the overtakes in the last couple of moments. Of course, it was Sawyer who took the pole here today, trying to get rid of a 23-point advantage for Heath Hollinger at the start of this race, but he's only going to get rid of a few of those points, I think. He mathematically can't get rid of them all by the looks of things, so that's the AM situation, the only battle that is settled before this race has even begun. That's the only championship battle that is settled on the way. Maybe I'm boring, but I hate Halloween. Not quite, you know. No. Not, you know. Oh, yeah, exactly, yeah. Goodness me. Yeah, anyway. I'm sure that, maybe not in this series actually, but I don't much like Christmas either, so there you go. That's the...
Do you have a favorite holiday?
No, summer holidays when I was in school, but I'm not in school anymore, so
Summer
no,
holiday.
Not
I'm not really sure that classifies as what's technically a holiday, but
no,
I get your point.
You weren't talking about that kind of holiday. I know you
No.
mean public holiday, but anyway, Probert still in front of Merriam for third place here, and Probert is nowhere near. Well, it's nowhere near. Just over a second off of Horvath at the moment. It just seemed that Merriam has sort of picked up the pace after that opening lap, where I do think he was being maybe slightly more cautious than he otherwise would be.
Well,
but now it's all more spread out. It's a little bit easier.
Yeah, exactly. I think in that first lap or two, anything can happen. It may not even be your mistake, and you just get caught up in it and tear your stuff up. Now that's a lot less likely to happen, and so he can kind of crank it up a little bit. But, I'm sure he would be happy to roll home with a third or fourth today and just clinch this championship and move on, So I don't think he's going to press to win this race like you would normally see him do. He's certainly not going to, I wouldn't think, press hard enough to make a huge mistake, as we got Claudio and Dos Vase here. Now, see, that's the line I like in there, that really tight one to the wall on the inside.
Yes, yeah, I do find it easier actually trying to get as close to the wall as possible. It's just a good reference point really to try and use to hit the apex through there. I'm not sure it gives you the best exit onto the front straight, but it gives you a better line through the corner anyway, and a better chance of overtaking in Sunset Bend as well. Sawyer's suddenly lost a few positions here.
Has.
He was second in the AMS. Oh, he's about to be one of them back again because Carlson goes wide and Sawyer does not take advantage. I don't think by design. I think he just didn't have the run coming through turn one, but Hoskins and Carlson have both passed him. I think it might have been into Sunset Bend actually.
Well, if you look at this is this is like a 5-car battle here from Gardner all the way back here to Champlin. You've got this whole little group here just all within total of about 2.5 seconds or so. Yeah,
it's good to have, and we've got a similar thing going on with the front three in Pro-Am as well, so good battles for the lead happening at the moment. Hoskins close to Gardner on the way towards Cunningham corner there, but couldn't do it, and then he gets over the curb and he'll lose a few attempts doing that.
Yeah, I would Cunningham corner is not the best place to overtake for sure. I mean, you can. It's going into Cunningham it's a good braking zone there, so you can outbrake somebody there.
Yeah, it's not the most obvious place on this circuit to
No.
try and make an overtake.
No.
Down to Sunset is, and Merriam is quite close to Probert. Oh, he's not close enough though. On the way towards Sunset Bend that time round for making that move. Same in the Prams as well. And go through the bottom of your screen there, and then the second group as well. Also single file. Now Hoskins might be close enough to have a look on Gardner, and he is having a look here. Inside line into Sunset Bend. He braked quite early. And if you're going to make the move through there, you do need a bit of conviction, and he didn't really have that on the way towards Sunset Bend this time. He's going to get the exit, though. Maybe this is what he was waiting for.
I think he
the
was.
Run onto the front straight as the battle for third behind also gets side by side. He's switching sides, is Hoskins. Looks to the inside now on Gardner, who has to turn out. Brian Hoskins goes through on the inside.
Yeah, I mean, he cut it. He had him sealed off there. When he got to that inside right there, you cannot make turn one at Sebring carrying all that speed on that far outside. It'll just absolutely sling you off track there. You have to be right up next to that wall if you're going to carry, all that speed through turn one. So yeah, once he switched to that inside line, he kind of took that over from him. There wasn't a whole lot he could do about it. Speaking of that, look up here.
There's Merriam again, trying to get past Probert. Outside at Cunningham corner, he's on the inside for Collier, but that gives you the outside again when it comes to Tower corner. And he's not going to be alongside by that point. Probert gets the racing line again.
He is definitely getting more aggressive.
Yeah.
Which I questioned whether he was going to do, anyway, when we started. I was kind of questioning whether he was going to do that or not. And apparently he is. Apparently he's going to try to, put the pressure on him and move up, which I mean, he races with these guys weekly and they all know each other. And, they're obviously the guys that run up front here are, pretty solid, safe drivers. So you can trust them for the most part.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because Merriam, as we've mentioned, doesn't have to do this, as it were, but he is choosing to at the moment, choosing to try and get past
that
Tim
bump right there gets me every time. That camera angle, and you see that bump, and you think that they're hitting the wall.
It's a weird, it's a weird bump though, isn't it? Because the way it ramps up to the wall like a half pipe almost.
Yeah, it is. That's right, like a half pipe. That's right.
It doesn't seem to do that in real life particularly, but I don't know why it's there in that case. But anyway, that's the way it's been in iRacing for a very long time. This track's been in iRacing for at least 10 years, so it's been there for a while. Bryce, Hansen and Bailey all on top of each other in towards turn 3, and Bryce round the outside is going to get that 14th place overall, but perhaps more importantly that's the top 5 in the Prime class round the outside of Hansen again, and he stays in front. So that is Tom Bryce up into 14th position ahead of Hansen, and then Bailey in this group down to turn 7. Will there be another move from Hansen? Whoa, yes there will. Very late on the brakes, but he gets it stopped in time, and trying to follow through. Will Bailey hits Tom Bryce, who spins in front of the AM leaders. Hoskins gets through cleanly. Gardner has to go around the outside. They're splitting him, and so Bryce feels like he can't move. Now he can, because Vester and Carlson went around him, but Bryce spun around there by Bailey, who was trying to follow Adam Hansen through on the inside.
And that was just, I mean, he just, famous for my slow motion replays, of course. That was just he tried to play a follow the leader there, and he kind of sent it on him a little bit. And, I mean, that's a tough spot there. I mean, I don't know that I call that a racing move. I think that move was a little late to call it a racing move there.
It's difficult. I mean,
it's tough either way. I mean, yeah.
You can argue that, he should have been sort of, well, not expecting it necessarily, but certainly looking on his inside there to see whether he was being followed there. And you can argue that didn't happen, but that one will be argued about, I think, a little bit. Merriam has got past Probert, by the way, for third position, and Young is there as well. This is how it happened, just through Collier. Although, of course, got the run out of Cunningham first, then through Collier, down the inside at Tower corner. And in the end, the outside should win out there. A little bit of contact, but he did give the room in the end, and he gets third place.
Wow. Yeah, a little body check to come on by him there. That's all right, though. That's, I was about to get off the replay, but, man, I tell you what, it looked like he was going to take a lunge at him there for a second. I can't imagine that Probert would do that,
No. And to be honest, it doesn't look like he's got the speed anyway. I think he would realise, and has maybe realised, that he would be fighting a losing battle in that situation. And so, he is he's fourth for the moment, but I don't think even this position is going to last very long. He does not seem to have the speed of those around him at the moment, and the worry's going to be how far does he fall, because those guys aren't too far away either.
No, right. And, I mean, Hayden Young has climbed all over his back bumper here at this point.
Yeah, so he's next in line on board with the driver of the Porsche, just over the shoulder, on the way towards turn 15, Le Mans corner. And we'll see when this is going to happen. It did take quite a while for Merriam to actually figure out the way through. I don't think he was being extra cautious because of the championship, to be honest with you. I think he was doing it normally, but just couldn't quite manage it for a little while before finally getting through here. So they come down in towards the final corner, Sunset Bend, and Probert's more than far enough this time to stay ahead, but he's very much on the defensive here, and has been for some time now.
Yeah, and I think that little late braking move where he ran up on the back of Merriam and then had to really get on his brakes to keep from hitting him, I think actually kind of threw him back in the clutches of Hayden Young. And now, Hayden's eating up on his bumper back there, and he's kind of having to drive out of his mirror a little bit, as you see Bradley Lovings here trying to work his way past the, like you said, the only BMW in the field, which, oh no, there's another one. There's two of them out there.
Only at the front.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's so funny how so cyclical these cars are. It wasn't that long ago that the BMW was the strongest car, and everybody was wanting to drive the BMW, and it wasn't that many seasons ago that the Lamborghini was cast out to pasture as a dead cow, and it's kind of revitalized itself. It's kind of fun to see that, actually. I like the fact that that the cars come and go as being competitive, and it kind of forces people to get out of their comfort zone, like David Van Roy speaking. He's right behind there. And we see him down there in the bottom in his VR goggles. That's we got another SR group that we cover here. There's an older gentleman who races in VR and has a motion rig, and I've been begging him to put up a camera so I can watch him in VR getting bounced around in there, but. Anyway, that's another story. But yeah, and like Van Roy was a huge Mustang guy, and he was so fast in that Mustang, if you remember, but he dominated back then, and it's just funny. And of course, Bradley Lovings was a huge Porsche guy. He swore by the Porsche for the longest time.
Yeah, and now runs the Lamborghini with Brad Tidwell, who's always been with the Lamborghini. To be fair to him, you are right to remember that time where the Lamborghini just wasn't the chosen car at all, but Tidwell chose it anyway, and did a good job through the second season of the Coffee Cup, which was over the course of 24 rounds. Started last July, but if you can imagine, it started at a similar point to this season actually, but if you can imagine still having 12 rounds to go and basically the whole of January off, then you get the idea of what that season was like. It was a very long season, but I enjoyed it, I must say. And so did I, actually, the whole way through.
Yeah, well, there's something to be said for sticking to, a car that you well and you're comfortable with, because you're always going to be faster in something that you're comfortable with.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very close here. It's Lovings, but I think I would certainly be one of those who would stick to one manufacturer. To be honest, as slightly boring as that is,
you
want to learn
boring
that manufacturer.
No,
I'm not painting a very exciting picture of myself on these broadcasts sometimes.
I hope you're not shopping for a partner on here, because you don't sound very exciting at all. I don't do holidays. I like summer break in school. Oh, you can't give me ammunition like that. I'm already bad enough as it is. Oh my goodness! Yeah,
anyway,
I know.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I'd find it easiest just to learn the one manufacturer, but there you go. It may not be the fastest manufacturer the whole time, and that's what the very best guys can do. They can hop around a little bit for the best car. Probert and Young side by side, all in a very sudden moment, and I think Probert made a mistake, much like the way that he lost the position to Damon Hupton when he was still in second. Oh, Probert's lost it.
Oh, my
now,
God.
Young now off through turn one. Young had a big snap there. Oh, and he has spun all the way around. I wonder if he's found the wall as well. He's going to have to wait a long time to get turned back round again.
Yeah,
Might as well do the turnaround on the tarmac out there and then rejoin, sort of like he's merging onto a motorway. But it's a big slide.
Big
Goodness
slide.
Me.
No, he kept it out of the wall, though. That was nice, actually. He dumped that car there to make sure that he didn't hit the wall. That was actually some good driving right there. Yeah,
he just sort of turned out of it to avoid the wall like that, and that's why he spun around. But
man,
my God, he's going to have to wait a long time.
Watch his front end here, though, man. It pops out on him, just all of a sudden starts to slide. Then it caught. Ooh, that was close, man. Yeah, that was a big hit for him. He's all the way back in 16th now, and he was trying to make a pass for 4th. Wow.
And now, yeah, that's a long road back for Young. And Bryce has been ruining our orderly leaderboard for a while, but now Young is as well. It's all over the place. So anyway, we'll see how far Young can get in the next half an hour, but it's got to be frustrating for him. These guys are now fighting for a top 5 position, though. And the longer this goes on, the more likely it is Pro will keep 4th for the moment, because this has been a difficult race for him. He's spent a lot of these first 20 minutes defending.
Well, I tell you what, it's obvious here that I think that Riley is holding up Lovings and potentially Van Roy as well. Bradley's been trying to get by him for a while now, and he's obviously making that BMW nice and wide up there. And Van Roy's closed up on him, and he was a couple seconds back earlier when we were showing him, and now he's closed right up on him.
I really thought actually he would do it there into Sunset Bend when they came off of the Lamont corner. Actually,
right.
I thought he was more than close enough, but clearly not. And it's always more difficult as well. The last couple of moments, Lovings has been able to do this without any pressure from behind, but it's always more difficult when you've got somebody lurking like this. And David Van Roy is right there now, which is going to make life harder for them. But we'll see if Lovings can just focus himself forward and make the pass anyway on Sean Riley, who leads this group of 3.
Well, what's funny is, yes, it definitely makes it tougher when you got somebody behind you. But the real problem is that if you decide to try to send it a little bit to make the move and it doesn't work, you're going to get passed by the guy behind you now. He's sitting there waiting on you to make a mistake, so to speak, where you kind of take a little lunge there, and you got to, you got to pull out of it, and it's going to end up causing you grief, and then like Van Roy's going to go right by him if that happens.
That's what he's waiting for, I would imagine. Van Roy just sat there watching. Just doesn't want to get particularly involved. He's a very calm driver, Van Roy, very patient.
Very.
And so he's not going to do anything rash here. You'd be very shocked to see that. So we'll just wait and see what happens here. See, Lovings gets really close through here. Every time makes me think he's definitely going to go for the move at Sunset, but for whatever reason, he just hasn't for the last few laps. It's now the moment, maybe, as the gap dips below 0.2 of a second. It will be a 10.5, but even with the massive slipstream, that Lamborghini is getting nowhere in a straight line.
No, the BMW is known, though, for that straight line power. That's what's keeping it on grids, is the fact that it's got that big high horsepower motor, and it's one of the most powerful GT3 cars, that and the Mustang.
It's got to be to push that big lump through the air.
Yeah, I know, right? That big lump. Tell us how you really feel.
Bring back the Z4 is what I say, but anyway.
Oh man,
that's a long time.
Is that the one? Is the Z4 the one with the long nose that kind of has similar body style to the AMG Mercedes? Yes, I loved that car. When I first got on iRacing, I bought that car, and then they parked it. Let me go run back here. We got some action craziness going on back here. They parked it and made it a whatever you call it now, a
legacy.
A legacy car. As soon as I bought it, I mean, I didn't have it like 2 weeks, and it was legacy.
That's bad timing.
I was crushed, man, because I loved that car. I wanted to drive that car. I was so excited about driving it. And to be fair, back then I was in nowhere near the capability I needed to be able to drive it, because that car was with that big old long nose on it was hard to rotate, and I had no idea what trail braking was then. So
they were the days. That for what a great car. It's I think the first GT3 race I ever went to sports car race I ever went to about 10 years ago. Z4 was there, and it was unbelievably loud. Well, not unbelievably loud, just a very distinct noise.
Right.
And it sort of reverberated around the countryside, which is great. But sadly, no longer a thing in iRacing or real life. So
when I went to the to Sebring, that back then, the GTU, which would be probably the equivalent now to GT4 cars, the Mazda RX-7 was in that series and dominated that series with a rotary motor, and that car was very loud and had a very distinct sound that no other car had out there because it cranked way more RPMs than anybody else.
Yeah, it's. I have heard about those rotary engines on multiple different cars. The Mazda 787B was also very loud, so I hear.
Well, that's arguably like
GTP.
one of the most classic GTP cars ever. That thing is still got a huge fan base. Oh, look at this little! I thought he was going to send it right there. I do like that Joker Riddler looking. Oh no, it's multiple Jokers. Okay. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Believe it or not, despite my my hatred, I have actually seen that film before. So.
Which one? The one with Heath Ledger?
Don't start asking me questions like that. It had that face in it. Someone who looked like that was definitely in it.
Okay, well, it's good to know you saw that film. Thanks for that. Let's see.
Just trying to,
Let's see what happened back here. This is not good. What is? Yeah, right. I saw that movie.
Fester finds the wall. That's what Young was avoided and successfully avoided earlier. Very similar, but you look at that front left. The damage model on iRacing these days is so much better than it used to be.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So, what happened?
Did Tidwell do the same from the pit lane? Yes. Wow. Oh, as Vesta crashed, he also spun.
Oh. Okay. So.
And that shouldn't have been on cold tyres. Well, it probably would have been, actually, wouldn't it, I guess?
Would he have taken cold tyres?
I would say so, yeah. Well, Sean Riley's just in at the moment, so we'll just see if he decides to take tyres here as well as he pulls to his box towards the end of pit lane. I would imagine they are all taking tyres, actually, yeah. So you've got to be very careful on the pit exit here. It's very wide pit exit, so not... Yeah, there you go. He is.
I mean, I guess that's not...
technical, but it's on a turn where you're accelerating, which is why it's difficult.
Well, and it's super slick, and that outside there, I'm sure, is even slicker because you get all the marbles that are generated from the incredibly high G-forces put on those tires going through to turn one because it's such a high-speed grinding on the tire kind of turn, that it's kicking marbles out there. That outside's got to be just full of trash.
Yeah. Well, David Van Rooij is going to... He's going to now attack Lovings. It's a two-car group, and not quite this time into turn 10. He sent him off, though. And this is a bit of a danger, actually. You'd think there's two schools of thoughts here for Van Rooij. Either, let's try and get past Lovings now that this group is a little bit less dangerous and there's one less driver in it, or work together to try and overcut Sean Riley, who's very much made an early pit stop here and has found himself in a bit of traffic, not far behind Champlin and Bryce, who are battling for 14th.
Yeah, and I guess just the fact that he's close to Brad Riley doesn't mean that he's necessarily not working with him. I guess we need to watch and see if he actually attacks him or if he's, just staying in his draft and running with him. We'll stay here for a minute and we'll see how this shapes out. Because there's a couple places at Sebring you can catch a nice draft, really. Oh, look. Yeah. Oh, Van Rooij likes a little wider line there that he comes in tight. Oh, man, he's carrying a lot of momentum. Oh, okay. Yeah. I was like, wow. I guess
that's the danger.
I guess Lovings didn't want Van Rooij on his hind quarter back there, which you can't blame him because, if David's tough and he's tenacious. He could, he'll stay on gnawing at your back bumper back there and.
Yeah, well, he's coming to alleviate that. Hayden Young still working his way back through the field, but as Lovings comes to a stop. We'll see where Sean Riley comes out in relation to him, because that's the battle really inside the top 5 for that last position in the top 5 between Lovings and Riley. Lovings is rolling. Riley hasn't been caught up in any traffic just yet, but he will have had a tyre warm-up phase, so it will be unsurprising if Lovings is ahead of him initially as he exits the pit lane now. Riley's only just coming over the start-finish line, so you'll see him through the bottom of the screen. He'll be somewhere, will Lovings. Wow, has he really got that amount of time? Look at him all the way over there.
Yeah, he's
way... If this tyre warm-up phase is sort of just okay...
Oh,
no, he spun! Oh, no! Lovings has spun. His body works everywhere. And that is the danger of cold tyres. He got overexcited almost at the thought of a top 5 position. He won't be in the top 5 anymore. He is badly damaged now.
Badly. Yeah, that car, does he get a meatball from that? Does not look like he did yet anyway. It hadn't popped up.
I mean, he's not going to carry on though. Look at him.
No, it can't. Let's see. Let's go on board quick, see what his steering wheel's looking like. Oh, yeah, that's not good. No, he's pretty jacked up. Look at that wheel. Oh yeah, he's tore up bad. Yeah, he's fighting on it hard there.
It's rear suspension damage as well, which is even more difficult to deal with than front. Oh, he's shedding his rear bumper as we go along as well.
So sure did. So all the leaders now are in the top 4, just all pitted, and Van Roy decided to stay out, which. Not surprising. He's kind of, he's always been pretty good at saving fuel too, but he's got him a nice clean track in front of him now. So if he can go out there and throw down a real blistering lap, on a light fuel load, that might be a way to pull an overcut there possibly, because those guys are all going to come out and still be battling each other coming out of the pits. So we'll have to see how that shakes out, I guess.
Yeah, it's very unusual actually that we see so many all in one go, but especially at this time in the race as well. But only a few have carried on further, which suggests to me that those guys who pitted last time around were pretty much out of fuel, and they had to make a pit stop that time round.
Now you got Dustin Dos Vase now, as of course he hasn't pitted yet, but he's up in 3rd overall, and of course Claudio in 2nd, both of which are Pro-Am drivers. Even the fact that they are Pro-Am drivers, when they pit, they're still going to have some pretty nice track position.
I think, worth remembering, of course, 60% fuel limit in this series to chase things. Hovardin gets past Hayden Young, and he's not far behind Faluna here, so the battle for the lead is absolutely on. And for some reason, somehow, Hovardin has gained a lot of time through this pit stop phase. He's right on the back of Brian Faluna. Look at this. You almost wonder whether this is the difference between a driver warming up their tyres, having changed them, and a driver who doesn't have to. He's up on the curb there, outside of Bishop. It's extremely narrow through here, but he's on the inside line in time for the Le Mans chicane, and he's going to be just about there in time. Here he goes on the inside of the long corner itself, and he's going to get through here. Hovardin's effectively going to be the leader of this race. 4th at the moment. He's leading, though, ahead of Faluna. Young and Merriam are there as well. Merriam is in the conversation for this race victory as well. As things stand, the top 3 come in. This will become the actual lead of the race, as Hovardin is set off lightning quick out of the blocks in this out of this pit lane. And for some reason, he's struggling now, is Faluna. Here comes Ryan Merriam out of the final corner. And Merriam's going to move up to 2nd place. They're absolutely side by side. The 2 championship rivals across the start-finish line, side by side. It's Merriam on the outside. He can't afford a crash. He's got to be careful on the outside there, but he's going to run right round. Oh, is he going to get the space here? Just about. He's just about going to get it from Faluna here. He's still on the inside line at turn 3, and he will get the position back again, will Faluna. Although he goes quite deep again. Merriam will gain again. Hovardin's going to lead by over a second, as Faluna looks all sorts of trouble now as they come out the pit lane.
I think he got quite unsettled there when he had that battle with Horvath, and then he just kind of got out of his sorts a little bit, I think, and Merriam tried to take advantage of it, but then Merriam put himself in a precarious spot, and Faluna gave him a lot of room. to save himself there. And I think as soon as they were settled that out, I think Merriam backed out for a second as maybe to say, hey, I was in trouble there and you gave me the room, go ahead and we'll do this again, because if Faluna had pushed that issue at all, Merriam would have wrecked.
Yeah, and that's what Merriam can't afford, so they can again play on that a little bit. I'm not sure how much the guys have actually been doing that, or whether it's just been invented in my head, but it's entirely possible thinking that Merriam would be a little bit more cautious today than he otherwise is with the championship on the line. But a podium at the moment would be absolutely fine, and with Faluna in second place, Sully is a top 8, so it gets the equation gets even simpler. There is the split. It now actually does change things by putting them into Pro Am, but yeah, it's still Horvatin who leads, although now he's being brought back a little bit. I think it might just have been the difference in terms of cold tyres. Faluna, with newer tyres though, will start to see some benefit from that now.
Yeah, once they start to warm up, he definitely will. All things considered, I still think that that Faluna is the car to beat here. Although that whole Horvathan situation, like I went back and looked at the pit stop times and everything to see if I could figure out where he gained that advantage. And there's nothing glaring there. Faluna had a slightly slower stop, which I guess was enough, but their whole pit road on and off time was all pretty similar. The guy who had the fast on and off pit road time was Ryan Merriam of the 3. He was 2 seconds faster than the other 2 guys.
It's unusual we see this amount of change in the pit stop phase. Normally it's quite similar across the board in terms of times, but they've got these 3 very close together, so we can't complain about that at all as they now run towards Bishop, Horvatin, Faluna and Merriam.
No, there's very few times that 40 minutes into a race and you've got the top 3 covered off by less than a second.
Yeah, it is very lucky that we've got this situation. Horvatin, without a good run there onto the straight, is going to be passed by Faluna, is he? Or at least challenged, as Faluna pulls to the outside line in towards Sunset Bend and just backs away, lifts off, and Horvatin stays ahead for the moment. But the pressure is going to ramp up, and if it's going to be like this for the next 15 minutes, he's going to find it very, very difficult indeed. A decent run from Faluna here out of Sunset Bend. Gets him close-ish to Horvatin, but can't find his way past at the moment. The pressure will be ramping up now, though, with just more than 15 minutes to go.
Well, and from everything that I've seen, I cover a lot of GT3 racing, probably more than I want to, actually. The Mercedes have been really fast as of late, so it's not surprising that Horvatin is, he's got the car to stay ahead of these Porsches. Which, speaking of that, the Porsches seem to be the car that has the most loyalty typically by its drivers, because I think it's because a Porsche drives different than everything else. And I think that the people that like to drive Porsches, stick with them, which is also the reason that I'm surprised that Bradley Loving stopped driving it, because he was a huge fan of the way the Porsche drove. Faluna is all over the back of Horvatin here. He's wanting his lead back.
Maybe there's something in that. I've never considered it, but it does seem to have a reliable base of drivers. As Faluna looks to the outside there, but just can't seem to find his way past at the moment. He can't let this get out of hand, Faluna, and Horvatin to just stay in front again and again and again, otherwise could get difficult, although that's wide from Horvatin. He's got that mistake now at Faluna that he was waiting for. He feels the need to defend straight away there, Darren Horvatin, and he's correct to presume that as well, because Faluna was always going to get alongside him, and now he begins to just pulled properly alongside. Side-to-side contact a couple of times as Hoverton wanted the racing line back again. Faluna with a rather strange line will try and get the exit, I think, but I'm not sure how that's going to work out for him, if I'm honest. Out of the corner, he's still quarter of a second behind, and that hasn't worked. Bit of wheel banging down the straight that time.
Well, I mean, let's be real. Let's be real there. Horvath cleaned him right off the racing line. He just said, hey, I need a little space here. Let me move you over a little bit. That's certainly a way to protect your position there. Not that I don't want that to sound like I have an issue with that, because I don't. I believe that racing to some degree should have a little bit of bumping of fenders and stuff. I think that's okay. Yeah,
definitely okay in this this type of racing. It's that, you can get a little bit dangerous with it if you start banging side to side like that on a straight. I think that does get a little bit dangerous from time to time, but in terms of penalty or whatever, but we'll see how far this goes now, and just how aggressive is Faluna going to be. He's going to dive it down the inside at turn 10 instead, and that's a very good overtake. Merriam's going to try and follow through as well, because now's probably his best chance if he's going to get through at all on the Deming Hoverton. And there he goes. No, he's not going to get down the inside at Tower, but Faluna is through. All it took was a bit of late braking, jam it down the inside on the apex, and he will get that place, and he's already got a bit of a gap.
Yeah. He and again, immediately Horvath has to turn his attention, to Merriam, who immediately tried to seize that opportunity. So it kind of causes him to to take the focus off. I just saw Bradley Loving's name pop up saying that he passed somebody, and I just went to look to see where he's at. He's back in 17th place after that poor incident he had. That was so unfortunate.
Yeah, that is a shame. A number of drivers who have had their troubles today further down the field. I bet you can spot who they are in the order. There's one of them coming out the pit lane there, actually. Was that Carlson?
Yeah, it was Scott Carlson, yeah.
Yeah, straight off, actually. So he came out the pit lane through turn 1, a very unusual pit exit, as mentioned earlier on. Tidwell went for a spin through there earlier, and is 13th at the moment. Dustin Dosvez gaining further points on Tidwell, and looking like he's going to take the championship, and Ryan Merriam at the moment in control of the Pro Championship as well, as Riley goes down the inside of Alexander Claudio, who's now 11 seconds in front of Dustin Dosvez somehow, and leading this Prime class by a long way.
Long way. That's a big lead, considering how close they were not that long ago. That pit stop cycle didn't do them any favors at all.
Yeah. Very.
I thought that was going to be it. Your complete response was going to be yeah. I was like, well, that sums it up.
I was thinking, but there you go.
Yeah.
Merriam close again to Hoverton, and he's going to get through by the looks of things. That's the battle for the AM lead as well. It's all happening at the moment. Merriam, it was inside at Tower, it looked like, but still side by side through Bishop. Late braking from Hoverton to try and keep there. This is a great battle between these two. It is allowing Faluna to win the race, though. Merriam down the inside is not quite going to have his nose alongside. And Hoverton gets second again ahead of Ryan Merriam.
Oh, man, it's just a part of me that every time I see him go for something like that, especially when he's hanging it on the outside like that around somebody, man, at this point, if you take the hit, I mean, you literally could lose the championship. Look how wide he is. He wrecked him.
Goodness me. Hoverton spins out of the final corner. Ryan Merriam's got damage here.
Oh, yeah.
Let's hope he doesn't have a meatball flag. Otherwise, this race could turn completely on its head. This championship could turn on its head late as well. The gaps behind are big. And so if the damage is not that bad and there is no meatball, then Merriam can carry on and can limp to a championship. But this is the worst possible scenario for our championship leader.
He sure seems like he's turning that wheel a lot right there. Oh, yeah, he's jacked. Oh, yeah.
That's me.
Yeah, he's a little, that wheel's crooked. I know he was cranking over on it pretty hard, especially to this side, turning to the left. Oh yeah,
I mean, there's 9 minutes to go. It might only be 4 laps to go when they get to the line.
Yeah, I think he stays out. You know, if it's drivable, exactly. You stay out.
Because look at the gaps back behind there. You know, you've got about 30 seconds back to the positions that you need to be in front of before it starts getting dangerous with Faluna. And, you know, at that point, you know, you'd have to lose 8 seconds a lap, which I don't think he's doing.
He has to finish top 7 or above, right?
7. I think I said 7 earlier, didn't I? Yeah.
Well, Horvathen is sitting in dead last, who is also a pro. He's sitting in dead last in the pits. So that takes one driver off the table, and we only had 9 pro drivers, right?
I mean, overall.
Overall. Okay.
Yeah.
Overall. Okay.
So, but, you know, Horvath dropping down so quickly shows what could happen to Merriam here.
Right.
Could have happened, indeed, to Merriam. As Faluna, by the way, goes over line, there are indeed 4 laps to go.
Let's go back real quick and look at that one more time. You know, it caught us a little off guard there because we were just, you know. So he gets a really wide run. He hits the wall and just comes right across in front of Merriam. And that's what we were talking about earlier. I mean, it doesn't have to be any of your own doings. Merriam was so far clean on the inside of the track there. They couldn't have been further apart right there. Hardly, you know, I mean, really. Yeah. I mean, they could have been, but, you know, he was well clear of him in no danger whatsoever. And bam. You know, and I'm sure Horvathen feels horrible that you could have potentially put Merriam's championship in jeopardy, you know?
Yeah.
And of course, it wouldn't be as big of a deal if Faluna wasn't running away with this race too, you know?
Quite. Exactly. The one driver, Merriam, did not want to win this race.
Right.
Because indeed, because it can only be if Faluna finishes second or worse, it can only be a tie.
Right.
Which I think Merriam would win. But I haven't done the tiebreaker calculations because I didn't think I'd need to.
Right. I mean, again, Merriam is with, you know, we've got, what do we got? 6.5 minutes left or so. I mean, Merriam hasn't even dropped a spot yet. He's maintaining a pretty large gap over third place. So he's holding his own just fine.
Goodness me.
Yeah, I know, right?
Drama he could have done without. I mean, yeah, he will lose. I think he could even lose his podium. Maybe not though, but
maybe
he's going to lose time. But he's going to limp to the end. Whatever happens here, he's not going to pit. That's for sure. No matter what happens. Let's just quickly though, while we've got a moment when we're on this subject, just before we go to the AM lead again, chat to Damien Horvath because he's in the pit lane for a while at the moment and has got a bit of time to chat to us. So
sure.
We'll do that now. Damien, welcome in. Good to have you with us. Shame under these circumstances, of course. I think you're just heading back out. I hope you don't mind us chatting to you anyway.
Of course.
Just tell us about that incident there we just saw with yourself and Ryan Merriam a couple of moments ago.
To be honest, coming out of the final corner, there is some marbles on the track. And I guess when I was so close to the wall, it just, the rear lost the grip and it just spun me right into Ryan. I think if Ryan wasn't there, maybe I would have saved it, but, I cannot blame him for that. It's completely on me. But honestly, just a freak accident. Nothing really I could have done to avoid it. It's just, racing, it happens. Not happy with it, but I'll go out, finish this race, and have some donuts with the guys at the end.
Yeah, to end the season. I mean, it was an exciting race up until that point for yourself, especially. What was your view throughout the pit stops of things, of how you managed to get into the lead and how you managed to hold that lead for quite some time?
I mean, honestly, the three of us were really, really close all race. The difference between the Porsche and the Mercedes is that the Porsche is much better on the cold tires. So it took a bit of time for this boat to warm up and get up to race pace. But once we got there, I kept up. I was marginally quicker per lap than both of them. But the laps that I would mess up, it would throw me back a lot. And through the pit stop cycle, honestly, it was just, I didn't put the full lap of fuel in. I put like a quarter, just to have that little less time. I have to servo drive through. To spend a little less time in the pits than them. And then on the exit, I just got lucky. Hayden was there and he messed up Faluna a bit. And then somehow managed to make my way into the lead. Tried to run away, honestly made too many mistakes, started sweating, and then lost it. But what can you do? It was really fun, especially for me. I didn't expect to be that close to the championship leaders, especially now when I'm second race back after a multi-month hiatus. But honestly, I think I put on a good show, and that's the most important at the end of the day.
Yeah, it was a great battle to watch, and great to see you at the front when you were. Congratulations on that run earlier on, and providing us with a lot of the entertainment here this afternoon. Thanks for chatting to us as always, Damien, and have fun in the final few minutes.
Thank you. Hopefully see you next season.
Thanks very much. That's Damien Horvath, who is driving at the moment, putting himself in the interview room, so we'll just bring him in briefly. But yeah, very very gracious, not blaming Merriam as of course he can't in that situation, but
right,
nevertheless not blaming Merriam at all. And I'm sure does feel a little bit sort of conflicted about being involved. It's always difficult. We talk about this often in oval racing when there's playoffs and stuff. What do you do as a non-playoff driver getting involved with the playoff drivers and so on? It's the same here, really. The top two fighting for a championship. How far do you get involved as those leaders now cross the line and see the white flag, by the way? How involved do you get? And, Damien's well within his rights to battle for the win there as he did so well for so long in this race.
Yeah, I think, it's always going to be a tough decision there. I'm sure that had Merriam had to come in and fix damage and potentially drop out of the position where he could win the championship, he'd probably felt different about it. The fact that it had been a few laps and he was still out there on the track, indicated that he's probably going to go ahead and win this championship still. So I think that in itself probably makes him feel a little better about what happened.
Yeah. If he'd have given him a meatball and taken him out completely, that might be a different story.
Yes.
Because had that happened, by the way, with this result right here, Brian Faluna out front, Faluna would have won the championship and overhauled that advantage or disadvantage he held going into today. In the primes, by the way, Justin Dos Face is doing more than enough to hold on to his lead. In fact, he's 7th overall now. Alexander Claudia is going to go on and win that class, but it's a championship for Dos Face, it looks like. And as long as Merriam gets through the final few corners, it will be for him as well. But Faluna's done absolutely everything he could here tonight. He won last week as well, let's not forget, at the Hungaroring race. So he's had a good few weeks in this series. He's been gaining points towards the end. He gained 3 on that day, but still being 7 behind. It was always going to be quite difficult to overhaul, and indeed it has turned out that way. The 55 minutes now elapse, and indeed the time on this season elapses in the OGRL Coffee Cup's 4th season. Out of the final turn for Brian Faluna. He's going to end the season on a high with a victory here from Sebring. Flashes the lights knowing he's done all he could to win the title here today. But behind him, the driver who actually wins the title is going to be Ryan Merriam, battered and bruised, limping over the finish line. He's going to win Season 4 of the OGRL Coffee Cup in the end by less than 5 or 6 points in the end here. It's a very, very close season, and Merriam, despite a big scare at the end, is going to just about manage it. Alexander Claudio is going to win the class in the Pro-Ams. In the only other championship fight we had here today, though, it's going to be Justin Dufface who comes across the line in 7th place. That's got Pau Kirley putting some pressure on him towards the end here, but Dufface can finally celebrate. Came in today with 9 points over Tidwell. He's going to go out with even more as he beats him rather handsomely in this final race of the season. And Brian Hoskins, a bit further down in 12th place, is going to take the AM victory on the road. No championship battle here in this class today because Heath Ollinger has already sewn up the title. But Brian Hoskins is going to come across the start-finish line to win in the AM class here tonight. 12th place overall, and he takes a class victory to end the season. And indeed, finish the season in 7th place in the standings. It's not the standings that will matter to him too much. It is the race result. And there's Bradley Lovings as well. Recovers to 14th in the final race of the season for him.
Yeah, tough break for him. He finished right behind Tidwell, actually. Apparently he needed some burnouts as well.
It's going to be a smoke screen in a moment because everybody's going to be doing it in a moment. Few more than others, but
yes.
There you go. Bryce, I think, will be the last driver to cross the line. They will hit each other as well at the end of the race. Yep, it's turned into a demolition derby at the end, which is not unexpected, but it's the end of the season.
Actually, those are quite fun. Well, you probably don't enjoy them, I'm sure.
Nice. I do enjoy some things, but
I would love to hear what's on your list of enjoyments. What you want to elaborate on that?
Not Halloween or Christmas.
No, apparently not. No.
Probably
being British, probably not 4th of July either.
Obviously not. No, that's a day. That's like a funeral over here. It's like it's like when your ex-partner gets married.
That's
anyway.
not necessarily a bad thing in some cases. It depends if you're having to pay alimony or not. It could be quite a good thing if that happens in some cases. There's probably some guys who have never been happier than they'd be willing to pay for the damn wedding, in fact, just to help out.
Oh, Christ. Anyway, Brian Faluna wins the last race of the season. You tell us the last take, can't you? He's 14.4 seconds in front of Ryan Merriam, who gets home with the title. Tim Probert rounds off the podium. Devin Van Roy and Sean Riley round out the top 5. Alexander Claudio wins in the Pro-Am class. Still slightly puzzled as to how he got such a big lead, but anyway, Dustin Dufface and Pau Kirley will be on the podium with him. Hayden Young and Adam Hansen will be in the top 10 ahead of Will Bailey and Brian Hoskins, who wins in the AM class. Tidwell and Lovings 13th and 14th. I'm sure Lovings will be delighted he finishes just behind Tidwell in the last race of the season, 13th, 14th like that. Jim Sawyer 15th on the podium in the AMS, then Pernod Hanno and John Gardner, the last driver on the podium in the AMS. It's Michael Champlin who ends up in 18th. Ahead of Tom Bryce, the last driver on the lead lap. Horvatin dropped a lap down, so did Carlson, Vester, and Marshall. Abbott was the only driver to not finish that race. Good attrition rate, actually. Only one retirement throughout the race. Hoping to chat to Ryan Merriam in a moment as the overall champion, but let's chat to, first of all, the overall race winner tonight, Brian Faluna.
We'll see.
Who can now join us. Sorry for interrupting your conversation. Brian,
apparently we'll see.
Good to have you with us. How are you feeling at the end of that race? A race victory, but not the championship. I'm sure you were gunning for. Mixed emotions at the end of that one?
Honestly, not really. After the pit stop, I will say this. Not winning the title, I could say, is made up by that second stint. The three of us within a second, just hammering away. I'm pretty sure I was the only one that took tires of this three, so I think the tires basically gave me the extra grip I needed to get past Damien, but it was good. Close championship. I'm pretty sure I think it's down to single digits to whatever the final tally is going to be, so I'll take that.
Yeah, 5 or 6, I think it will be in the end. 5 or 6 points, which is pretty good going. Going back to that pit stop, though, you referenced there, I think you're probably right that you were the only ones to take tyres out, the three of you. But would you do it again if you were to do this race again? Because it did, give you while enjoyable, it obviously didn't give you the track position that you held for the first half of the race.
I still would. In practice, the couple days leading up to it, the left side just takes a beating. I stripped off a lot of downforce. For most of the week, I was going with 10, and then at the last second, I kind of chickened out and added a little extra wing, but I'd still take the left sides. I think what really did me in was I took extra fuel again, just because of fear. So I took, 1 lap extra, and I think that probably added 2 seconds to the pit stop, and I would have gotten out a little bit sooner, I think, but I would do it again, 100%.
Do you use
twice
the
on
iRacing,
Sunday?
Yeah, twice. Well, yeah, good job. Do you use the iRacing thing, by the way, for the fuel?
I do. I just set it. I always the races where I didn't set it to like 1 lap extra were the races I always had to pit extra. If I set it to 1 lap over, like 1 extra lap of fuel, I'm always good, but then I'm closer to everyone else. So I got to get better at fuel saving. I think that's definitely an area where I need a lot of improvement.
Yeah, I've heard some conflicting things since it came out, the iRacing fuel system, about giving too much or too little, which I'm sure you've experienced.
Real quick. So, Brian, check out Digital Race Engineer. They they have a free version like Crew Chief. It's better, way better. It does. You could actually fully automate your car to do everything in the car by voice. Moving up and down the black boxes, you could do everything by voice if you want to. But their fuel calculator has the ability to help you save fuel. It has a setting in there where it can tell you to, that you need to maintain a certain pace, and it'll show you with lights if you're going too fast to save fuel, or if you're going, you can set it to how much fuel you want to save, and it'll adjust your pace accordingly and give you lights to follow as far as pace goes. It's pretty cool.
All right.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I will definitely look into that, Jim. That is that's big. Yeah, I've never. It's always been one of those areas I've never been good at.
It's also got a tire estimator that they have worked out. It's AI based, I think. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but it's really accurate. So as you know, you can't get your tire usage in iRacing until you've pitted and it's too late. Well, this can estimate your tire usage and is pretty accurate. So in situations like here, maybe you would have found that you didn't need to take tires. You know what I mean?
No, that's absolutely great advice. I'm going to research that.
Yeah, it's a great product.
I did feel really good that first stint. If you probably look at my first 10 laps, I think minus 1 or 2, like everything was in like a tenth. I was doing like 2.8s for most of the first stint before I started falling off, and I was like, okay, good, I can maintain that. I was keeping Damien at bay. He struggled in the braking zones. That's where I was always making time up on him, but the Merc is just a rocket ship in a straight. Yes. But all in all, gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Well, they say if you look good, you feel good. And that freaking livery, I love it. I know where it's from. I love it. I love the fact that you were able to find it. I'm assuming you didn't design that one yourself, but it's I know it's out there this weekend at Road Atlanta for the Petit Le Mans. And I absolutely love it. It arguably might be my favorite Porsche livery, maybe of all time even. I love that livery. I'm not a big Rexy fan, but I love this
one. Jim, my wife is the one that sold me on it.
Really?
So shout out to her, Amber. She was like, you should try it out.
I love the gold teeth too. That's the best.
So, yep. She was the one that convinced me. I gave it a shot. 2 for 2, actually. I ran it at Hungaroring, got a win, so maybe I should just run it more often. But
apparently you should keep that forever at that rate.
But yeah, Jim, Ewan, JP, there was another gentleman, I think John was another person. that did the broadcasting this year. Gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure. I can't wait to do this again for the next season.
Well, thanks very much for coming to have a chat with us throughout the season. And yeah, as you say, hopefully we'll see you at season 5.
Yes.
Yeah, indeed. Have
Yes.
a good holidays. I imagine we're probably not going to come back before the holidays are over, but maybe.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know what
Best
the
of luck,
plan
gentlemen.
is. Yeah, good luck
Cheers.
to you, man.
Thanks. That's Brian Faluna.
I do love that
won
freaking
our
Rexy
race
livery.
this afternoon. Yeah, it's good livery, isn't it? And
It's just cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
His wife's got good taste. I mean, she did pick him, so I'm sure he would agree with that.
There you go. Yeah. Well, yeah. Anyway,
Who else we got in
it's
there?
good and good to see it out front. Right, let's do Ryan Merriam now as well, because he was up there in that battle as well.
Yeah, there we go.
Obviously got many of things to discuss as well. Ryan, welcome in. Good to have you with us, and congratulations on getting home to the title in the end. But you must have been feeling very nervous, or the heart rate certainly must have been coming up when you had that incident with Demian there with about 10 minutes to go. Just tell us what was going through your mind at that point.
Hey guys, thanks a lot. Yeah, definitely trying to be safe. The racer in us just gets the better of us sometimes, and I was sitting back there in third and pretty content, and then I somehow in the pits we all jumbled up together. So I don't know how that happened exactly, but then it was we'll see what happens. Try to stay close, and then I just instead of we were just battling. It was a lot of fun. It was entertaining, and yeah, Damian got a little got like spit out by that wall, and I thought it was over. I mean, if as hard as I hit him, the first place I looked was to see if I had a meatball, and luckily I didn't. But then I only had 2 strikes left for incidents before a black flag, so.
And you had some jacked up steering, right? Your steering was jacked up.
Yeah. The car had a right angle there, and turning left was pretty hard. Thankfully, there's more right turns, I think, on this track than left, so or at least hard turns. And but yeah, we got it home. That's all that matters, I guess.
Talk about pucker you up. 2 incident points. 2 incident points for a black flag, and your steering's jacked over to the right. Yeah, that's got to be rough. Yeah, that was tough. Congratulations. That was a good drive to finish the race and not even lose a spot.
Yeah, well, luckily we had a bit of a gap. I was like 2 seconds or more slower over lap after that with the damage. So Tim was coming slowly but surely. He would have got me if the race was much longer. So, but I think I just had to get like top 5 to guarantee it. So
yeah,
that was the goal.
I think I worked out once. I think a top 7 probably would have even been enough. And at that point, you would have needed to lose about 8 seconds a lap or something, such as the gap that you had. Obviously, that wasn't going to happen, even despite the damage you had. But how has the season been overall? We saw you miss around very early in the championship this season, which has sort of meant you went under the radar initially before coming up towards the front and having some very consistent results towards the finish here. How has it been overall?
Oh, it's been a lot of fun. These guys are awesome. I joined this league, I don't know how long ago, but I was like maybe not even a 2K driver, and my first race in the Coffee Cup was like, I was getting like, I'd be happy if I got around 20th. There was maybe 15th. I've come a long way with these guys, and the seasons are a lot of fun. I really look forward to them. This one was no different. These guys just make it what it is, and there's a lot of great competition out there now. Brian kept me honest all season long, and hopefully it just keeps going, keep growing, get the grids back towards 40 every week. Get these guys just keep getting better and better too. I mean, congrats to Dustin and Heath as well on their championships.
Yep. Well, the 3 of you have indeed sealed that today. Quite late on for yourself, so congratulations on stealing the title tonight, and congratulations again. We'll hopefully see you next season.
Yeah, for sure. I'll be enjoying a little bit of a Sunday mornings off for a little bit here, and got a vacation coming up and some other stuff, and then we'll be back ready to race through the winter time. So gonna get ready to endure a nor'easter here in Massachusetts. So be a nice Sunday watching some football for me.
Yeah.
Only problem is
Enjoy that.
you're probably watching the Patriots. That's got to be rough these days.
Hey, I'm excited. Their last week was promising. I think we're gonna be okay.
I couldn't help
might
myself.
not be as bad as before.
No, yeah, it can't be worse than last couple seasons.
It's supposed to be an unusual feeling, especially for when I started to watch American football about 10 years ago.
Right.
Unimaginable what the last few years have been like. But anyway, let's not go down that tangent. Otherwise, we will be here until the game starts, which is not ideal. Thanks again, Brian.
No.
We'll hopefully see you soon.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. And see you next time.
Thanつvery much.
Crazy to think how
place.
fast he's gotten over a few seasons here with these guys.
Yeah, like I say, this season started pretty much the same time of year that the season he's talking about, I think, started. The one, maybe it was the season before that even. But anyway, just to give an idea, season 2 started at the same time of year as season 4. Started. So that gives you an idea of just sort of the time frame we're looking at. Let's go to the Pro-Ams, and Dustin Dusvays next, who has won the Pro-Am title, confirmed this afternoon. And Dustin, welcome in. Good to have you with us. Second place here today and a confirmed Pro-Am championship now as well. How are you feeling at the end of the season?
Oh, I'm doing good. I think I had 6 spots I could lose to Tidwell. But luckily ran a clean race. No chance of catching Claudio. He was way too fast this week. But kept it clean and finished it where I need to do. It's been a fun season.
Exactly. 16 points, the gap you get home with in the end. So you were being caught a little bit for second place towards the end of that race. But just how much did that really feature in your mind? Was it all about the championship, or were you pushing on to keep second as well?
I was trying to keep second. Paul was behind me. I think if we had 1 or 2 more laps, I think he would have got me. He definitely had more pace towards the end of the race. I was really struggling on those tires.
Hopefully, I'd say as I've said to the others, we'll see you again next season. But for now, thanks for chatting to us, Dustin, and congratulations on winning the Pro-Am title here today.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate all the broadcasts.
Thanks very much. Justin Dusvays, the Pro-Am title winner. 16 points, I say, the gap he gets at the end. Brad Tidwell has just very kindly posted the final season standings, by the way. He followed you, gets home by 15 points in the end. Sawyer did gain some of those points back, but as I mentioned, there wasn't enough available to him to win the title. Dusvays by 16, as I say. And Merriam, 5 points only in front of Faluna.
Oh, wow.
It's going to go down in the history books as a very, very close season indeed. That does make it feel very, very close, doesn't it? But
yeah,
when you actually watch these races in reality, sometimes it's not quite as close as that.
Well, the thing was, it was close. It was one meatball flag away from being the other way around. And he could have easily gotten a meatball in that same spot. We've all gotten a meatball from less contact than that. It didn't happen and everything worked out, but it just as easily could have kicked him a meatball right there, and this whole season could have been over. So exactly. In that aspect, it was close,
True. Yeah, no, very true. You're correct. Thankfully got away with it that time, but so we've all seen them given for less. So fair play to him for that one. Another drive. I'm leaving Brad Tidwell to last, by the way, just so we can get an admin chat in at the very end here today. But next, Will Bailey is also in there at the moment at the end of this season for the OGRL Coffee Cup. Will, welcome in. Good to have you with us. A top 5 in the Pro-Ams to end the season tonight. How are you feeling at the end of that race? How was that for you?
Oh man, it was great. It was a good race. Hats off to Adam Hansen. I just could not catch him. I wanted so bad to get a top 10 in this one, and I just could not catch him in the last few laps for some reason. He was just killing it.
How was the Mustang around here, and indeed this season as well? Because you're one of the few now who are in a Mustang, a car that was once very, very popular when it first came out. Has it sort of gotten worse in any sense? People just not wanting to do something else, or has it been fine for you this season?
I will say I struggled very hard in the beginning of the season, like right after the tire model change, and it made it very difficult to drive at first. I really had to kind of remodel how I do my driving. It was too late. I already had the car, so now I had to like just figure it out. And so, yeah, I think that probably scared people off from it quite a bit. I think it's still a phenomenal car. I think it gives you a lot of feel, if that makes sense for your driving. And I think it's still a very fast car, especially in grunt out of corners down the straights. But I don't know, maybe it's just a little too touchy now for people.
Yeah, I can imagine how this car has changed since it first came out. That's for sure. But congratulations on getting a top 5 tonight at Sebring, even if it isn't the top 10 that you were hoping for. And thanks for coming to chat to us at the end of this season as well.
Oh, thank you very much. And great job this season, guys. I really appreciate all of the hard work you guys do for your broadcasts. I love watching them. I show all my friends, and me and my wife watch them after the race every time.
Well, thanks for doing so, and hopefully we'll see you next season.
Yes, sir. We'll see you next one.
Thanks very much. That's Will Bailey, 5th place in the Primes today. Not the top 10 he was hoping for, but a strong result nevertheless. And finally, let's chat to Brad Tidwell, who is indeed has popped in at the very end as well. A 13th place finish overall in the end for Brad. And we'll talk a little bit about your race first, Brad, before the league in its entirety. How was that out there for you today? A couple of positions lost on where you qualified, and obviously a massive uphill task for you to actually get ahead of Dustin in the championship, but couldn't quite manage that either. How was that for you?
Painful is putting it lightly, but it was a lot of fun overall. This track is definitely one of my weak spots, and I think it showed.
I mean, in the Lamborghini doesn't make things a lot easier, but or maybe
doesn't
you
lend
can dispute
itself
that,
to the straight and all that wanting to come out around on me. But no matter where I was on the track, there was good racing. So I had a lot of fun with the boys today anyway.
Yeah, and that is the main thing. How has it been from your side of the putting your admin hat on for a second? How has this season been overall? Back to the familiar GT3 for an hour format. 12 rounds and a drop round for every 6 races. Back to the format that we first started broadcasting this league, which well over a year ago now. How has it been to return to this format, and how has it been to run this season overall?
Oh, it's been great. This is kind of the roots of Coffee Cup, and I think this is kind of where we really go in stride. I think we'd like to get the grid a little bit larger, just to throw a little more competition at each of the classes. But what we have so far, is great racing. The racing's respectful. It was pretty close throughout the whole 12 weeks. And while we would ultimately like to do something like a 24-week championship again, I think next season we'll do another 12-week just to keep it a little easier for people to make a majority of the races. And that way we can keep, participation and competition up a little bit.
And you feel free to answer no, but have you got any sort of more concrete plans on another season, or any details you can share with us, or is this all in the works at the moment?
It's all in the works. We'll be posting stuff within a week, but we'll definitely be trying to recruit. We've got a partial track list set already, but we want to finalize it before we share it. We're going a little bit more mainstream this coming season. Keep it a little bit more simple and less purchases people have to make to participate. I think we'll be taking 3 weeks to a month off. Don't quote me on that, but it'll be around there. And then we'll be hitting the ground pretty hard once we come back.
We look forward to it. Certainly another season of the Coffee Cup. Is there anybody else on the admin team or anyone else you'd like to thank before we let you go and round up this season?
I mean, yeah, Bradley Lovings he's really why Coffee Cup was a thing, especially, the last 2 seasons. I was just here to help. OGRL, we got Michael Champlin who runs that league. And then, every driver that puts time in to give us time and their talents every Sunday, it's really what makes it what it is. And it's just a real blast to be with the boys every morning.
Yeah, it's been great to be here once again for another season, Brad. So congrats on a successful season from your side of things. Been great to be back again in season 4, and thanks for chatting to us at the very last round as well.
Hey, Brad, real quick.
Oh,
yes, sir.
I've been in this league now for going on, I guess, 3 seasons. And you could at least thank us guys too, even though I don't drive anymore because I broadcast. But you could thank us talentless guys. You thanked all the talented drivers for bringing their talents to the. What about guys like myself, the talentless drivers? Well, we deserve a break too.
I think Jim, that's very kind of you to point out. Now, I'm going to say when you probably watch the broadcast back, you'll see that I thanked every driver, even those who sit at the back and have battles themselves. So, yeah, and along with that, we got our great broadcasters. So thanks, guys. The Coffee Cup really wouldn't be what it is without you guys allowing the families and friends to share in with the experience. It really helps make it unique. And then lastly, I do want to shout out our sponsors before I forget: Arcadian Woodcraft, Blue Angel Kennels, and Ron's Service, all helping make this possible.
Well, thanks again, Brad, for popping in, and I'm sure we'll see you again very soon.
Yes, you definitely will. Thanks a bunch, guys, and see you next season.
Thanks very much. See you soon. That's Brad Tidwell at the end of season 4 of the OGRL Coffee Cup. Slightly ambushed by Jim.
The thankless talent, the thankless, talentless drivers want some love too.
Because anyway, we've had a great season. As I say, get a very diverse group of ability here in this series. Although
it's a great series to come in. Look at Ryan Merriam. Couple seasons ago, he was a mid to back of the pack driver, and he's winning championships now and running up front every single week. He's arguably the man to beat almost every single week now. Yeah,
he's certainly up there, and has indeed won this title overall as well. So a great place to come and get better as well. It's always helpful racing alongside people who are a little bit better to improve yourself. But anyway, that is just about it for us here this season. It has been a great season to cover. Big thanks to everyone who's been tuned in throughout the season, even if it's just for this final round. Big thanks to the drivers for providing the entertainment that we've enjoyed so thoroughly throughout this season as well. And congratulations to the title winners, Ryan Merriam, Justin Dustface, and Heath Ollinger in season 4 of the OGRL Coffee Cup. That's just about it from us, though. I've been Ewan alongside Jim Cunningham. Until we see you at season 5, it's goodbye for now.